right. Unfortunately. Billy says it would be right to me if you would still say a few important things and if you'd mention some aspects that are important for the Earth people. Quetzal says I can do that, yes. However, this requires that I inform someone about my extended absence. Wait a moment, yes, it's okay, I can postpone my task. Quetzal spoke in a language unfamiliar to me, over his communication device, with a female person who is likewise unknown to me. What should I speak of now? Billy says let's hear something in the sense of what you extraterrestrials have to tell us Earth people in general, regarding behavior and development, love, knowledge and wisdom, as well as regarding peace and truth, etc. in your kind. You are all very highly developed and extremely loving beings, who have overcome all acts of violence and who wish that we sorry earthworms would also free ourselves from theological violence. In this context, I think that it would be appropriate for you to say a few words. Quetzal says there is a lot that can and must be addressed, and I would like to list that which I have to say as follows. 1. For the Earth humans, we wish that they, in all love and reason, tend toward bringing an end to all aggression, acts of violence and wars, as well as all criminality, all hate, all discord, every bondage as well as any craving for vengeance and retaliation. 2. In order that correct justice and humanity, as well as true reverence for life can prevail, it is our desire that in all countries worldwide, torture as well as the death penalty be abolished and laws are enacted where every life and the right to soundness of the body and psyche are respected and placed under legal protection. 3. We wish that a normal state of population and births be strived for on Earth and, in this regard, effective worldwide birth control be enforced, because only through this can too excessive and overpopulation be avoided and even further privation, criminality, hate against fellow men, wars, exploitation of Earth's resources to the utmost, as well as new diseases, epidemics and misery be avoided and contained. 4. A means of food production should be strived for on Earth among all people, and these goods should be distributed in such a manner that the misery of hunger no longer develops and, therefore, all people have enough food. 5. Earth humans should no longer be destructive in all areas of science and in the cultivation of land and forests, as well as water utilization, etc., but rather be constructive and progressive. This also refers to the preservation of a healthy atmosphere and ever more threatening climatic change, with reference to that which originates through human fault. 6. Earth humans should consciously unfold in the forms of love and knowledge, as well as in true humanity, and recognize creation-given evolution as the highest goal and meaning of life. 7. Earth humans should utilize their sciences in such a manner that true, positive progress develops in every respect. 8. The cognition, knowledge, experience, as well as wisdom should grow within Earth humans, that they are not the only human life forms in the entire universe and are, furthermore, but a fraction of the whole within the universe. 9. True peace as well as true love and freedom should finally prevail on Earth and among all human beings regardless of skin color, race and faith, without hate, revenge, jealousy, craving for retaliation, privation, misery, murder, homicide, terror and wars. 10. It should come to an end that the countries of Earth, even the poorest and most underdeveloped among them, maintain armies that are armed to the teeth and senselessly burn away innumerable sums of money in the billions which could and should be used for the true well-being of the people. Thus it should finally cease that politicians and the military, as well as the most diverse organizations everywhere in the world, talk about peace and freedom, love and humanity, in order to justify tremendous financial expenditures on the one hand, and on the other hand, to snatch up even more of these funds for purposes of war and terror, and to heat up the weapons industry so that further acts of terrorism and war can be carried out with the new weapons. 11. It must finally come to an end on Earth that human beings with other forms of conviction as well as different faith, skin color and race are hated, pursued, tortured and killed. 12. It must come to an end that umpteen thousand tons of food are criminally destroyed on a daily basis for reasons of profit or, Due to low market prices, they are simply thrown into rivers, fed to livestock or left to rot away, food which would spare millions of people from a death by starvation, in particular women and children who are the ones bearing the most misery in this regard. 13. It must come to an end that Earth humans as a whole face all their enormous problems helplessly and powerlessly because all the profit-greedy, irresponsible and unscrupulous ones are able to conduct their criminal affairs unrestrained without being held accountable for them, as are also the governmental persons of responsibility who are incapable of administering their office within the framework of a just and appropriate leadership in order to resolve the mounting problems. 14. Most urgently, the Earth human must learn to bear his own responsibility and consciously act in a progressive manner in accordance with this. It can no longer persist that the responsibility is simply shifted on to someone or something else, because the individual is responsible for all of his own thinking, feelings and actions. The individual must recognize and adhere to his responsibility, because only when the individual begins recognition of his responsibility and adheres to his responsibility will the next person be prompted to do the same, whereby others, in turn, will join in, and finally the whole of Earth's mankind will be taken up by it. 15. If the individual person feels the need to actively do something to change the world, its human beings in particular, this actually is within his power, but only in such a manner that he be an example to his fellow man and fellow men. Thus every person has it within him/herself to begin a change for the better, toward peace, love, freedom, progress, as well as toward knowledge and wisdom. Everyone must make a start by himself and also discover the way to a free and happy life on his own. Each person must first acquire an optimistic attitude solely for himself, and from this will initially result the progressive expansion through which his fellow men will be prompted and will join in. And if people think consciously in this direction, then they will make the amazing discovery that all means and all hopes for a true progress exist only when they start everything by themselves. 16. The human being must recognize, discover and experience, in detail through his own cognition, what his true, innermost being is and how it relates to the external personality. 17. Unfortunately, Earth humans have generally assigned top ranks or top status to political, economic, scientific, military, material and financial values. These, however, are non-values that bring tremendous damage through which the well-being in physical and psychological aspects is impaired, as well as the consciousness-related development of the individual and even of the whole of mankind. As a result, the true sages and philosophers have vanished, making room for the wannabes with respect to wisdom and philosophy who frequently inundate the world and its mankind with horrendous nonsense that has nothing to do with reality, correctness and conformity to laws of the spiritual energies and creation. All of these non-values must be removed in order to place the true sages back in their proper place in society. The opportunity must be provided for these few who are presently on earth, to emerge from their hidden solitudes so that they can instruct the people. In so doing, however, all those must be pushed into the background who spread unreasonable sectarian teachings and principles, through which Earth humans have been pushed away from the real truth and have been misled. 18. Earth humans must learn not to solely pursue materialism and money from birth until death, and hence they should not listen just to those who have amassed political or military power or an immense fortune. And so they should neither aspire after them nor try to be like them, and devote neither their time, their work and efforts nor their initiative and lives to them as well. If people nevertheless do this, then they forfeit their evolution and thus the meaning of their existence. And if they do not lose their life in a direct manner, then they make themselves dependent on the rulers of a political, dictatorial, military or materially wealthy form, shouting approval and support for them and becoming those who live in appearance instead of those who truly live/exist. 19. The Earth human must free himself from the variety of political, dictatorial, military, scientific and faith-oriented directions, as this alone guarantees, on the one hand, the discovery and following of the path of the creational truth and its laws and commandments,